All right, we are live. All's good? Yep.
صباح الخير.
صباح النور.
رجعنا.
رجعنا. الحمد لله على خير وسلامة.
الحمد لله سلامة.
I don't know كل عام وانتم بخير، سنة جديدة.
اي صح،
سنة
كل عام
هجرية
وانت
جديدة.
بخير. Yes.
إن شاء الله في New Year resolutions.
Don't believe in that.
Don't believe in
I
that.
don't believe in that.
Just believe تقدم.
Yes.
Always move forward.
Every day is a new year.
Alhamdulillah.
You can do a resolution for every
As
day.
long as I'm alive and I'm awake, something
Well,
new is happening.
You're breathing.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
breathing is an important thing for me.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
I very much struggle with breathing. But
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
It's been what, أسبوعين?
I think 10 days من
10
آخر
days.
حلقة.
Yeah.
Something around it. 10 days أسبوعين.
Yeah. فاحنا ما احنا ملتزمين بجدول معين. هو المفروض نلتزم بجدول معين ولكن
حنلتزم.
يس يعني نخلينها على حسب الظروف وعلى حسب المواضيع اللي نتكلم عنها.
Yeah, يعني خصوصا في مواضيع you do need to spend your time to research.
بالضبط.
أحيانا تضيع, like you're reading about something and you go, this is very interesting, and then you lose days because you continuously read about it.
Yeah.
You forget about your work. You forget because like I went back to the office yesterday. Well, I was there Sunday, but yesterday we had like a meeting for the first time in the summer, and I just like feel like أحس دماغي انمسح. It's like there's a full erase. Like قعدت هناك كده, like my professor and my colleagues, and I go, I need a minute or two to just remember على ايش
أنا إيش أسوي؟
إيش قاعد أسوي؟
مين أنتوا؟
What? 1 plus 1 2
Yeah.
x plus y equals z. This is how we start. You know, you have to go through like fundamental arithmetic, and you go, okay, this is where I am in life. هذا اللي قاعد أسويه. Now we can talk.
Yeah.
It takes a minute.
Recalibration.
I think it's getting back in gear. You know, like
Yeah.
when you السيارات قديم الأول لما تشغل السيارة لازم تنتظرها تسخن.
Yes.
Like you get the oil to temperature, you get the gears in temperature. Like you need, like we're rusty, and I don't think as our brains are not like turn on and go. I think it takes a minute.
بالضبط لأن أنت think يعني حتى هذا الوقت اللي let's say it's off time يعني off work أنت قاعد تقرأ and reading besides reading قصدي you're learning a lot of things and you're doing a lot of things
Yeah.
outside of that bubble of research or your topic. So and your brain is under a lot of I would say stress.
It's not stress. It's creating new pathways. Like
Exactly.
Every time you're reading, every time you're learning, your brain is creating new connections, new pathways. And then the old things that were connected are just like, they're there. It just gets dusty.
Yes, dimmed down.
Dimmed down,
bit.
yeah.
But you gotta go back to the same path a little bit. It will take a minute.
على طاري dim down. صلحنا اللايتس by the way اللي في الحمام.
Oh, مبروك.
We have lights in the bathroom.
Nice.
Wasn't me. But yeah, so things get dimmed down. It takes a while for you to brighten up the day.
Yes. Until it goes dark again.
I mean, let's hope the next time it goes dark, it's faster for you to get the brightness up again.
Yes.
Right? It's not always يعني it's not always the fact إنه okay خلاص أنا سويت ده الشيء انساه, which is صراحة يعني هواية عندي. I don't know if you have this, but I have it إنه أحيانا I'm interested in learning something, whatever it is. And for me, it's when is the time to stop learning, right? متى توصل لمرحلة تقول خلاص أنا الآن طفشت من ذا الشيء. بالنسبة إلي أوصل لهذه المرحلة لما I prove to myself إنه I can do it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily master it. Oh, I can do it. Then I'm done.
And you lose the passion of or the
أيوة.
drive of like want to learn. So you're just proving that okay, I can do this.
أيوة.
It's not that hard ولا it's doable.
ممكن also it takes away the mystery. يعني فهمت لما تشوف
Yeah,
حد oh
what is this?
كيف أسوي ذا الشيء؟
Yeah.
And then you go okay أبغى أعرف كيف أسوي ذا الشيء. طيب أنا تعلمت هذا الشيء صرت أعرف أسويه.
Yeah.
Should I make it? Nah. Nobody got time for that. Which is interesting. I think is it a human habit إنه هل is it إحنا كبشر يعني هذا الشيء طبيعي فينا إنه في أشياء نحب نوصل إلى نهايتها we want to master, أو معظم الأشياء نبغى بس نتعلم عنها ونعرف عنها and you go not for me.
I don't know if it's nature. I mean it is and it's good to I think explore these things and explore different things that outside of your comfort.
Yeah.
بس يعني also I think great things happen when you become obsessed about one thing.
Great things happen when you get obsessed about one thing, but is it because of our mind the way it is, or because today at least عالمنا الحالي we have access to everything. يعني أنا أقدر أفتح الكمبيوتر أمسك الجوال and I have literally access to everything
Yes.
written, well, documented in history that exists today, and I can learn about it. So هل إحنا نطفش من الموضوع اللي قاعدين نتعلمه أو الموضوع اللي قاعدين نشتغل فيه أو whatever because we have access to all of these different things?
Probably that's a very good argument. لأنه أحس
And we just move.
Yes, because back in the days, like you pick a topic or you pick a book or something.
Right.
There isn't a lot of distractions.
بتقرأ الكتاب.
Yeah, like what am I going to do?
وبتطفش بتقرأ الكتاب مرة ثانية.
Yes.
بتطفش بتقرأ مرة ثانية.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden you learn and you learn more.
Yes. And you reach a level where like, wow, this is amazing, and I know
Yeah.
everything about it. Like, okay, what's next?
What's next?
Within that,
Yeah.
I'm already so deep into that rabbit hole.
وبعدين عدد الكتب اللي عندك finite. So
Yes, exactly.
بتخلص and like, okay أنا خلصت literally قرأت كل الكتب على هذا الموضوع.
Yes.
Now I can move to another topic.
Yeah, but now it's like moving between topics is literally a tab.
TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's like actually a flip, yes, a
Yeah.
finger switch. So I think it's a distractive and destructive. The way we have access to this much information, it's good. It's definitely good. Actually, I was listening to this podcast. He was talking about great CEOs, and he
Okay.
was bringing. Anyway, he was like the best CEOs he's worked with. He's a consultant. The best CEOs he worked with, the people that can focus.
We lost one.
Basically, the people that can, like, okay, starting of the day, I have, let's say, 3-5 tasks. No matter what, these are my, he called it signal to noise. So these are my signal. I have to get these done. Whatever it is, whatever it takes, family matter, problems, whatever, health problems,
Yeah.
these have to get
stay
done.
focused.
Exactly. And this ability is becoming more rare because, like, okay, you start with the day, we have 3 tasks. These are priorities, right? You start working on one task, you get excited by something else. And your boss asks for something. I don't know, your family, you get a call from an old friend, whatever. That takes time and it drains energy. And then a week passes, maybe 70% of that task has been done, not the full thing.
Right.
So it will take you longer time to reach the goal. But the people who are actually hyperactive and they get to the point, they have this ability of focusing, okay, this is my signal, my noise is this, and be able to kind of distinguish between what is the signal, what is the...
Right. Distinguishing between them is very hard.
Especially nowadays.
Especially nowadays. بس احنا also we are trained to be monotonic in the sense of what we learn. مثلا تروح الجامعة. الجامعات الآن like very linear. خلاص أنت تبغى تدرس تخصص تبغى تتعلم حاجة واحدة تتعلمها هي.
Yeah.
We are not trained to be polymath. We're not trained to learn different things and so not necessarily master of all. Like there's a saying that says jack of all trade, master of none, right?
Yeah.
So jack of all trade, master of some would be a really good place to be. Like,
Yeah.
if you know a little bit, so if you know a little bit about most things, but you know so much about one or two things, that puts you in a much better position than people who just know about one thing.
True.
Right? In the sense of just having you expand your mind, it allows you to think in a different way. So في ناس كثير مثلا يقول لنا انتم المفروض بس تتكلموا عربي، المفروض ما تستخدموا لغات ثانية.
أيوة.
And I was like طيب ليش؟ Literally I had this discussion yesterday انه انت نص لغتك انجليزي، النص الثاني عربي.
Okay.
ما تعرف ايش تسوي. I was like yes it's true. حتى
صح، أنا أتعب في
الموضوع صعب. انا اتعب. انا تكلمت يا اخي الموضوع انه انا اتعب احيانا. like مع اصحابي ما هي مشكله لان كلنا on the same wavelength، كلنا نتكلم نفس الشيء. بس لما اطلع عند الناس الثانيين او لما حتى like a formal phone call my brain goes error. like ايش اللغه اللي بستخدمها؟ بستخدم عربي، بستخدم انجليزي، ايش بسوي؟
you lose yourself because you try. I have to think انه انا do have اتكلم بالعربي، هذه الجمله هقولها بالعربي، هذه الكلمه هقولها بالعربي ولا بالانجليزي. ولما تفكر في هذا الموضوع تاخذ دقيقه ولا ثانيه.
it loses my train of thought. Also our brains, so اللغة اللي نتكلم فيها، اللغة اللي نفكر فيها actually wires your brain because linguistics they have structures. كل لغة has a structure, has logic, has paths, and your brain kind of like the way you think في اللغة allows you to wire your brain in a specific way. That's why actually there are research around this. I don't know if it's proven or not. إنه الناس اللي تتكلم complete languages versus incomplete languages. So العربي is I think العربي is considered a complete language. We have rules for everything. Even for the exceptions we have rules, right? So مو زي الانجلش مو زي grammar in English well it works sometimes it doesn't and I don't know why, but in Arabic it works and sometimes it doesn't, and here are the rules of
وفي قواعد وراها
everything. But هل العرب at least let's say في زمن الرسول العرب كانوا يتكلموا عربي obviously right بس after they started expanding الإسلام إلى الدول المجاورة وفي الأماكن المجاورة specifically في العصور الأموية right في نهاية الدول الأموية do you know how many languages كان المسلمين خليك من العرب المسلمين in under one flag under one banner near the end of الدولة الأموية because الدولة الأموية
كبيرة.
Yes, I think it's the largest ever in the history of Islam as a one large country under one banner تحت التوحيد تحت الإسلام هي الدولة الأموية يعني الدولة الأموية did wonders to spread Islam.
هي أكبر من العثمانية؟
I'm not too sure. I think so.
Okay.
I'm not too sure, but
at least من التاريخ.
Yeah, but the Uthmanin were expansionists for different reasons.
Okay.
الأمويين they just wanted to spread لا إله إلا الله محمد رسول الله, right? So the idea is they started من المدينة.
العثمانيين كانت political.
العثمانيين just wanted to conquer the world, and I give them a blood for it. يعني في النهاية at that time you do want the world resources, and they did well. لين الحرب العالمية الأولى they got knocked out. But الأمويين
أي في اللغات.
Yes. So في نهاية الدولة الأموية how many languages do you think المسلمين تحت علم واحد تحت دولة واحدة يتكلم؟
I would think 3 4.
Well, it's a lot more than that, but formal languages it was 6.
Okay, هذه formal.
Formal. So أكيد في عندك البربر, عندك الهجر, عندك في لا أكيد في
لغات أيوة.
Right, completely different, but formal written languages that we have evidence of, written books, documents. العالم الإسلامي at that time had 6 formal languages for every different region. So of course they had to say okay أنا لما أروح من منطقة لمنطقة
لازم تعلم لغتهم.
وأصلا
عشان نتعامل معاهم
communicate send the messages. So they decided إنه العربي هي اللغة الأساسية للدولة كلها. In a specific region you can speak any language you want, but you have to speak Arab. لازم تتكلم عربي. So they had Arabic or العربية, لاتينية, يونانية, قبطية, سيرانية وفارسية. 6 major languages under one rule, one banner. Now, languages changes the way your brain works, right? Languages also allow you to communicate different sciences. Take away history. So, الدولة الأموية literally was the first to introduce العالم العربي إلى the science of the other world, right? العرب كانوا عايشين أول حاجة ما هم مستوطنين, كانوا معظمهم عايشين في الصحراء. So كانوا يترحلوا بدو في عندنا of course مكة المدينة والأماكن
بس ما في دول أو borders
يعني it was hard بس also العرب كانوا poets right? They like to do a lot of poetry. They are the best in poetry في العالم كله. They were not interested in writing a lot of it down. Yes, they had great memory.
Yes.
يعني to me I think we have it in our gene to have really good memories. I think technology really ruins us. بس العرب كانوا من أحسن أو I think they still are maybe biased but أتوقع أن العرب إلى يومنا هذا are أفصح الألسنة probably the best poets in the world
واللغة تلعب دور
and
يعني اللغة العربية تعطيك هذا
because it's a complete language
بالضبط.
we have everything and we have rhythms إحنا مو بس لغة اللي okay these are words no إحنا لغة literally we are a rich language and our language did not change much we changed our accents but we kept the words. أنا لو أجيب لك الحين كتاب والقرآن أكبر دليل على هذا right? على مر 1400 سنة
أي عربي حيفهم
right.
أي أحد يقدر يقرأ عربي
يفهم الكلمات and then we still teach it نفس اللغة خليك من الكتب المقدسة الثانية تغيرت
صح.
right? They wrote it in Latin where is Latin today? It doesn't exist. People have to speak a different language and then you have to trust the people who speak or claimed to read Latin. We don't know because we never heard it, right? Well, we did, but never recorded it. بس يعني مثلا العرب like were very very good at poetry. الفرس on a different like really their neighbors like الفرق بينهم خليج nothing, right? But الفرس were not that good at poetry. They had poets, but they were really 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 good at mathematics and science.
Okay.
Right? العرب had amazing language, had amazing poetry, had amazing way of looking into the world. كل شيء يتغنوا فيه. You look at something, whether it's جدار, whether it's a girl, whether it's
كتبوا عليها قصيدة.
كتب عليها قصيدة.
صحيح.
Whatever it is. And مو بس كتبها على ورق, no. They would recite it, improvise it, and never forget it.
Yeah. it propagates. الناس يعني يسمعوها لأنه
أيوة.
it's beautiful, it has rhythm, الناس يحفظوها.
Right.
Yeah.
So from there إنه okay الدولة الأموية decided إنه كلنا يا مسلمين بنتكلم عربي.
Okay.
Right?
هذه اللغة.
Let's make it a formal language. كلنا بنتكلم عربي. That's one thing. Second thing, أي شيء نكتبه بالعربي. Because now everybody can read it. Because we all have to learn القرآن. كلنا لازم نتعلم الصلاة هي بالعربي. That makes it easy. Right? And the third thing that the Amoyin at least attempted to do, but they couldn't do it because they were too busy with war, is that they wanted to start collecting libraries.
Okay.
ما كانوا يبغوا because again العرب are very fascinated بالكتابة, right?
Yes.
مؤسس الدولة الأموية معاوية صحابي الرسول actually started his career مع الرسول as a كاتب. كان كاتب للنبي. كان literally would go around and sit مع الرسول and writes everything he wants. So he started a country based on the idea of first he created the first navy army for the Muslims, changed the world of Islam, right? Because he created an army force. He did a lot of political decisions that are amazing to expand. But one of the most important things he also did is like he had fascination with poetry and also science in terms of like documenting things in books. So هو كان كاتب قبل أي شيء.
So the importance of documentation.
Important of documentation. So that allowed him to create an empire.
Yeah.
That empire thrived for hundreds of years. أتوقع إلى 750 something 122 هجرية. It was destroyed internally, not externally. So الدولة الأموية صار عندهم internal political discord. They were destroyed وبعدهم جو العباسيين. So at the end of the الدولة الأموية they created العربي as a formal language. All of us should speak Arabic and we should attempt to translate all the books in Arabic.
Okay.
Nobody had time for that because people are trying to kill me.
Yes.
So 7 major languages exist, 6 major languages existed كلهم تحت العربية. They wanted to translate everything.
So هذا بعدها طيب how did they continue after that?
Right. So الدولة الأموية
لأن الحين we established مثلا إنه الدولة الإسلامية توسعت فيها أكثر من لغة وأكثر من culture وكل ناس جو they brought their strength يعني في العرب جو بلغتهم وبلغتهم جو الفرس بعلمهم بالرياضيات هذه الأسس. I'm sure there is other
yes. جو الغريق they had so much knowledge from Alexandria من قبل. So there are so many things that but the problem is you had Aristotle, you had مين برضو Archimedes. You have Plato, Archimedes, Euclid, so many Greek philosophers, but like it was in Greek, Latin.
Yeah.
So like I don't know, but anyways, so جو الفرس مو الفرس sorry الدولة العباسية right, and they decided okay أول حاجة we don't want to expand, we want to fortify our borders. نلعب risk, okay. We just had major issues داخل. We're not going to expand. عدلوا حدود الدولة. They created regions. They created peace for them. في عهد المنصور, right? I think المنصور started it. Where he...
المنصور هو أول...
no, he's the third. Yes. Okay. المنصور is ثالث خليفة. ما هو المؤسس. So ثالث خليفة هو المنصور. He started to create his own library. Because he was interested. So في القصر عنده مركز الحكم كان في بغداد. بغداد تأسست عام 750 750. I don't quote.
That's okay.
I have the number
in the 700s.
In the 700s, in the mid 700s, right? And then Harun al-Rashid really was a man of science. Harun al-Rashid did amazing things إلى الإسلام إلى الدولة. He had a lot of ideas, created a lot of things, but one of the most important thing that he actually established for himself. Call him selfish, call him curious, I don't know, but for him, he established a royal library for himself. He was just interested. So كان literally يقعد في القصر حقه. I think he was also a chess player, like a god level chess player. يعني انت لو تحطها الحين he's like a grandmaster or something.
Okay.
But what he did is انه he was interested and fascinated by other scientists, by other sciences, غير المسلمين، غير العرب. بما انه كان في بغداد مرة قريب من الفرس، مرة قريب من العرب، مرة قريب من البيزنطيين. He was around people. So he created peace treaties معاهم. Of course بلاد فارس كانت تحت المسلمين, but like في الهند عندك الدول آسيا, like all of these empires, like he created peace with them. And he said, let's make trades. Also, I'm in the middle of you all. So, you know, Silk Road, you come through me. But like, now if you want to go anywhere in the world, you have to come through me. And I asked of you one thing. Bring me books.
Okay.
I just want books.
Yeah.
I want books. Bring me books in any languages. And people go, well, any languages? And I was like, yeah, any languages. And طيب كيف بتقراها? Well, he learned a lot of languages, but he also, because العالم الإسلامي like had so many languages within it, right?
Yes. فتقدر تلاقي translators.
And then people were forced to translate everything للعربي.
Yeah.
So for him, translation was not a problem. So he wanted to get books from everywhere. I'll make peace with you, Firas, and I don't want money. I want science.
I want the knowledge,
science, right?
Yeah.
And then I'll translate them. I'll just have my own librarians translate them. So Harun al-Rashid really created a library for himself because he was curious about the world.
Okay.
And
it was a private library.
Private library.
Nobody has access to it.
I want to sit there and have my own Wikipedia.
Okay.
أنا قاعد طفشان أبغى أتعلم كل شيء. And as you translate it, I'm already finishing, right?
Yes,
like, just give me. So Harun al-Rashid probably read like Plato, probably read Aristotle, probably read Galen, probably read Archimedes, probably read all of these. So Harun al-Rashid was really into it, right? But the person who was a lot more into it, I would say he was just dedicated for it. Is المأمون, which is السابع الخلفاء في الدولة العباسية. So he's هو المأمون ولد هارون الرشيد, he's his son. المأمون was very...
he had two sons, صح؟ المأمون أمين مدري.
Someone in between them. So المأمون was not the eldest.
Yes.
بس أخوه كان eldest. أخوه حكم I think for few years. Then he died. He was killed. And then المأمون took over. When المأمون took over, he really established بيت الحكمة, the legend as we know it. So what he did, أول حاجة, he took his father's library from private to public.
Nice.
He allowed جميع المساجد, جميع أي مسجد في الدولة الإسلامية. You can teach more than religion. You can do so much more, right? So في بداية من المسجد أنت تروح المسجد عشان تتعلم إيش؟ قراءة, كتابة, قرآن, صلاة.
كتاب.
Right, كتاب. Essentially, till recently in history, right? But Al-Ma'mun decided, like, okay, listen, at what point do we need to establish school systems, right? There's a point where we need to learn so much more.
Yeah.
So Al-Ma'mun told them, كل المساجد, you're allowed to teach everything you want. As long as Tawheed هو الشيء المهم, right? But also he had a fascination about debates, lectures, talking about people from different religions. يعني مو شرط ان انت تكون مسلم عشان انا اجي اتناقش معك. بالعكس, bring me people من الاماكن الثانية. So he took it all the way.
But which follows the previous philosophers' methodology.
Right.
Like, no, let's sit down and talk about it and debate.
Right.
Yes.
And then, you know, if you have a problem with me believing بالتوحيد والقرآن, well, let's talk about space and the stars.
Yeah.
Because كان يجلس ويقرأ القرآن, and for example, he was كان fascinated with space, with stars, because في القرآن في آيات مثلا
النجوم
والكواكب, right? Like حتى الحركة, like وكل في 30. So he had this fascination.
في سورة عن القمر, في سورة عن الشمس.
So he had this fascination with stars, with space, with astronomy, and he would sit with people from Byzantine, like and talk about all of these things.
يا أخي شيء جميل, تعرف ليش؟ لأنه يعني ما تقدر تقعد مع أحد to debate الا اذا انت واثق من your
Right.
belief system.
Yes.
فاهمني؟
So
يعني
you
إذا
cannot
أنت-
disrupt my belief system.
ايوه اذا انت ايمانك مشكوك او مهزوز، حتقعد مع احد تتكلم، ما حتكون عندك الثقه انك لا تعال اجلس معي ولا ستوب،
Right.
خلينا نتكلم، let's debate.
So yes.
فهذه
So,
الشوز ما اعرف، correct me if I'm wrong، بس الشوز قوه الايمان اللي he had
Right.
with his belief بالقران بالتوحيد، انه لا انا اقدر افتح مخي ان اتكلم مع اي شخص ثاني واتعلم منه
right, of course.
واعلمه انا where am I coming from, where my belief system is
So what's also very important about Al-Ma'mun, he did not force people into Islam. A lot of people أسلموا في ذاك الزمان, but he never forced them into
Okay.
Islam. So he also went a little bit further. So بيت الحكمة, as we know it, people say إنه حقيقة تأسس في عهد المأمون عام 813 around there, and then destroyed later on. But عام 813 المأمون took over الدولة العباسية, took over العاصمة في بغداد, and he created a hub of science.
Okay.
He allowed scholars from all over the world, wherever you are, however old you are, whatever language you speak. I speak them all. Come.
Okay.
Right? And his scientists really are important. And then he did other things that I think are incredible. So one of the very first thing he did to really establish Beit al-Hikmah, the legend. So Beit al-Hikmah is a story. We have no evidence of it.
Yes.
We have no traces of it. We have a legend. We have
الإغريق burned it all.
not الإغريق.
ها.
المغول.
المغول.
We will get to it.
Okay.
But so Al-Ma'mun established it. Al-Ma'mun did few things to make sure that he has access to all science in the world. One of the very important things he did, كيف أنا أروح إلى دولة مجاورة وأقول لهم أعطوني not just books that you want to give me, no. I want every piece of science you have. I want it. Give it to me in the language that is written and I will translate it.
Okay.
How do I convince you? أنت جاري.
It has to be a trade.
By the way, so الدولة الأموية not long ago متدمرة. الدولة الأموية just invaded us. أنتم كمسلمين you invaded us.
Yes.
So أنا كبيزنطي
I'm gonna-
أنا كرومي. I was like no. You stay in your
ما
border.
بتعامل معه.
Right. So what did المأمون? What was his strategy to convince other people to give me your books? What do you think that strategy was? And I think it is phenomenal.
يعني from my basic thinking it would be trade. Like
Trade.
I'll give you something in return.
Right.
Yeah.
It was coercion.
Okay.
So المأمون went for these countries around him. And he said, give me all of your books and you're safe. Otherwise, I'll send an army to destroy you.
Oh.
And I have the army to destroy you.
So he went head on.
ما راح قال لهم ابغى فلوس، ما راح قال لهم اسلموا، ما راح no. It's like,
The book.
every single book you have, or I will come and destroy you. Is this person dedicated for science or what? يعني انت تخيل لك اوكي فراس انا انسان عالم واحب العلم واحب القراءه، اجي اقول لك فراس بليز ابغى الكتاب اعطيك اي شيء عندي. And you go stay away from me. I was like okay listen, give me the book. I will shoot you. So انت كدولة like
اعطيك خذ كتاب يا عم. سيبني بحالي.
ما تبغى فلوس، ما تبغى جزية، ما تبغى
كل الكتب.
تعال تدري. Right, so he did that. So he had like a massive amount of influx of books. فجأة صارت بغداد عبارة عن كتب في كل مكان.
So which means he used his influence and strength for the sake of knowledge.
Yes.
And
For
the
the
sake of knowledge,
pursuit-
not a personal knowledge.
No.
For the
For
sake
everybody.
أيوه.
So
للدولة الإسلامية
بغداد-
to upgrade the
Yes.
science and the knowledge we
Yes.
currently have.
So Baghdad, so بيت الحكمة, the reason we don't know where it is, the reason we don't, well, the way I believe it at least, إنه مثلا لما يقول لك طيب في قرطبة في إسبانيا, we have evidence of the library of قرطبة, right? Why? Well, we can go to it. We know where it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
We have evidence. صح, it was destroyed, but we know where it is. بيت الحكمة, well, maybe it not existed because we don't have any evidence of it. And the idea for me is like, well, if you look at Al-Ma'mun, the way he did it, Beit al-Hikmah was not a physical. Yes, he had his father's library,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
royal library was there.
بس كانت
But
the
بغداد كلها هي
Yeah.
عبارة عن بيت
كانت the
الحكمة.
entity, the ideology
Yeah.
that you can, any scientist, anyone
Anywhere.
with seeking
Regardless
knowledge.
of your religion,
Yeah.
come here,
Yeah.
right? So imagine you threaten people by this. It's like, give me all of your books or I'll send these great warriors
Yeah.
that knows nothing other than I will kill, right? But give me your books and you're safe. Just give me your books.
Yeah.
You're safe. Okay. So everyone around him, everybody around him, every empire around him, gave المأمون every single piece of book they had. Hey, this is the best peace treaty in the world. All you want is my book. Take it. And during that time, it was the Dark Ages. So لما تجي Dark Ages الدنيا ما كان فيها advancements, الدنيا مجاعة, الدنيا عايشين في فقر.
طبعا هذه الدنيا من perspective
from history of the white, like the Europeans.
The European
right?
perspective. مو كل العالم كان
العالم.
Dark Ages.
But the Europeans, المؤرخين التاريخيين اليوروبيans, the most famous one, they would say من 800 إلين الرنسانس. This is the Dark Ages. ما كان في أي advancement في العالم. العالم was staggered. ما كان الناس barely had water to drink.
وجين هذا العالم من وجهة
نظرهم. But if you look at like المأمون عام 813 بداية حكمه,
he's flourishing.
Dude, he threatened people, give me all of your books or I'll invade you.
Yeah.
You want to stay safe? تبغى تحكم؟ تبغى تسوي اللي تبغاه؟ I don't care.
Which means he had resources.
Oh yeah.
He had peace internally,
right.
you know.
Internally he had peace.
So that means they were flourishing.
Flourishing.
From my
not just flourishing. We have evidence of this flourish, right?
Yeah.
Baghdad still exists today.
Yes.
But then
from a basic just logic, right? يعني إذا أحد راح يقول لك إذا أنا جيعان ولا suffering my people.
ما بروح أدور كتب.
إيه ما بروح أتضارب معك ولا.
I want your resources.
I want food. I want people.
المأمون had everything because العالم الإسلامي كان مرة ضخم. They had everything.
Yes.
They were at peace. They did not need to expand.
So it was not too dark then.
No. Dude, it was actually the golden age of Islam is during that time.
Yeah. Funny, really funny, like, you know.
So
the other side of the coin.
And so Ma'mun had an influx of books that are beyond his capabilities to translate. So he needed more translators, right? So now بغداد كلها عبارة عن كتب. That's how I believe it, at least from everything I read. بيت الحكمة ما كانت library أو مدرسة. No, كانت بغداد.
Yes.
بغداد بشعبها هي بيت الحكمة. المأمون is like the godfather of it. He initiated it. But now if you do that, now everybody around the world is just gonna send you books as gifts because listen, يا خليفة المؤمنين, don't invade me, don't destroy me, keep my empire. Here's a ship of books. Ships of books.
And أتوقع كلهم يبوا يكونوا أصحاب.
Because العالم العربي العالم الإسلامي to be precise, they had a lot of different resources as well that people wanted. So he was like, we want peace, give me your books. So بغداد صارت عبارة عن كتب, مكتبة من العلم. And then he wanted people to translate them. So what did he do to convince people, hey, let's, instead of ايش قاعد تسوي انت قاعد تسوي أسلحة, ما يحتاج تسوي أسلحة. Come and translate.
Okay.
ايش قاعد تسوي؟ قاعد تبيع خضار, ما يحتاج تبيع خضار. The army بيساعدوا الناس. Just come and translate. So what did he do to convince people to translate?
The money?
How? What type of money? What kind of money? Also, people were not يعني كيف أقنع واحد that is not a scientist to come and translate?
And you have to give them something in return.
Right.
And besides, like, okay, you learn, you do all these things, but you have to give them
so money,
home, or land, or.
But I also want to do translations very quick, at high speed, high accuracy, high volume. So what's the incentive? How do you think this genius emperor or khalifa or whatever you want, I call him a scientist.
Yeah.
This genius scientist, what was his strategy? So his strategy to collect book worked.
Okay. But now to translate.
Now I need to translate them. And I need to translate them quick because I want to learn it.
Yeah.
It's himself. He wants to learn it. He knew he's not going to live forever. He wanted to learn all of that. So he went and said, I'll pay you the weight of papers that you translate on in gold.
Oh my God.
Whoever translates.
Yes.
Bring me the translation.
Using الورق اللي هي
الورق اللي انت تكتب عليه ترجم عليها اللي تترجم عليها مو العرب كانوا يكتبوا بخط كبير صح like dude
وحتاخذ وقت
right
حتاخذ مساحة أكبر إنك تترجم لغة يعني concept معين أو فكرة معينة.
So it's a lot, right? So المأمون decided, okay, translators, I'll pay you gold in the weight of the paper that you're writing on.
That's an amazing deal. which means you have to keep translating.
You have to not stop.
Yes.
So
And a weight of paper, you know.
one of the most interesting people who did a massive amount of translation اسمه حنين بن إسحاق.
Okay.
ما كان مسلم. ما كان مسلم. He moved to Baghdad for this as a job.
Okay.
He knew so many languages. So many languages. And I think like he was able to the first to translate Plato, Archimedes, Euclid, Aristotle, Galen, so many other Greek philosophers بالعربي.
Okay.
And he was paid for them in gold. Wait, so okay, you translated Archimedes with all of his mathematics, like what, volumes of books? How much did they wait? You get that in gold.
طيب يا أخي, how did they do like checks, you know? How do they verify?
Right. So they verified it because other scientists, librarians حقين المأمون, were also translating them.
I see.
Right. So أول حاجة إذا أنت مثلا like إسحاق بن حنين, you translated 3-4 books.
Okay.
And it was verified. You'll trust this guy.
Okay.
Also,
Yeah.
because if you try to fool me, I'm gonna kill you.
Okay.
Like, okay, all jokes aside and
Yeah.
science aside, I'm still an emperor, and
Yeah.
don't try that. Like,
وبعدين honestly ما أعرف ليش, يعني أحس during that time كان في أمانة أكثر.
ممكن because it was anyways.
I don't know, like أحس البني آدمين they did not have incentive to cheat the other person. And they had
Not necessarily, yeah, true.
a code of honor, you know.
Because it was your job.
Yes, and that there was a code of honor in that job. Like
Right.
I'm doing this, I will do it. You know, I gave you my word
Yeah.
to do it this way. I'm gonna do it and execute it this way. There was, I don't know, they were not trying to do loopholes.
Right. Anyways, so this was established during Ma'mun. And now the aftermath, right? So you have access to all books, probably all books written at that time, existing at that time. And you have amazing scientists and scholars. And you also create this community of people that tell them, listen, you either work as a translator and you make so much money, or better yet, you become a scholar.
Yeah.
Start learning, start giving me new ideas, produce new things for me, right? And this is where Beit al-Hikmah actually established itself in history, where because at that time, during the Dark Ages, في العصور الذهبية مع الإسلاميين, العرب, مو العرب, let's say المسلمين بشكل عام, because some of them were Furs, some of them were Arab, some of them kind of from المغرب, Spain, and all of these.
بس كانوا تحت راية التوحيد, كانوا مسلمين.
تحت المسلمين. So let's say المسلمين at that time started creating things that we would not have even imagined in the 11th century, right? This is what, 800 years before Galileo, Newton, and all of these. So like, forget about relatively new science.
800 سنة.
Yeah.
800 سنة.
هذا عام 800 وشوي, من عام 813 المأمون إلى the destruction of بيت الحكمة عام 1258, which we will get to.
وبعدها متى جو let's say Newton and Galileo?
1700 وحاجة.
Yeah, talking. Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's so many years, right? So anyways, so you have so many of these philosophers, so many of these scientists, mathematics. Everybody من كل العالم جاء إلى بغداد, and they all spoke Arabic. All the books were in Arabic.
Yes.
So إذا أنت طفل صغير قاعد تتعلم, you have access to the world.
Yes.
You have
This
access
is
to the world,
heaven
right?
for a scholar.
So I don't think بيت الحكمة كان مكان physical. I think كانت بغداد كلها. I think كانت بغداد بشعبها.
Yes.
Right? So المأمون kick-started this, right?
لأنه he was attracting certain type of people.
And he was doing it not for the sake of the empire.
Yeah.
He was doing it for himself.
Yeah.
His dad was a scholar. He was a scholar. And he really, really believed in science. He really, really believed in debates and freedom of research, which is important, right? So, at that time, a lot of different things came out. So many different important things came out. So Beit al-Hikmah was established. العلماء were very interested. Al-Furs, with all of their mathematics, like gave it to Al-Arab with all of their language, gave it to Al-Furs, and now they created so many things, right? So at that time, scientists were not, أنا عالم فيزيائي, أنا عالم كيميائي. No. I want to read everything.
Yes.
So they were polymath, كانوا علماء متعددين, right?
And that's why I think they're philosophers, right?
Right. So
philosophy and science.
So that time, like it flourished. And fast forward to all of that science today, we still use some of the things that were established in Beit al-Hikmah.
Heavily.
Yeah. One of the most important concepts that I think is from Beit al-Hikmah is the concept of al-adam, al-faragh, right? Scholars understood something that was like, okay, there is nothing here, right? But the concept of al-adam really did not get established like concretely illa Beit al-Hikmah. And some people even attribute the concept of zero, the mathematical concept of zero, to Beit al-Hikmah. And
لأنه في the concept of the empty set. Right?
Yes, but that came later on. But like we're talking about just philosophically, I think one of the most important things Beit al-Hikmah did is, well, first of all, astronomy. So by the way, Galileo was the first to look into space. Bullshit. Because there are evidence إنه المأمون أمر بافتتاح وبناء أول observatory to space.
أو منظار فضائي.
So they understood how optics work.
Yes.
الحسن بن الهيثم moved from Baghdad إلى مصر. The guy is the father of optics, and he did wonders. We will get to him. But whatever he did in Masr,
influenced.
Where did that knowledge come from? He probably learned it in Baghdad, right? And then you have Al-Khawarizm, right? Al-Khawarizm by himself deserves a month worth of episodes because that guy really transforms our life today. If you are a person who ever understands anything about anything in the world, it's probably thanks to Al-Khawarizm. Because he created algebra. He created al-jabr, al-muqabala. He created mathematical algorithms to solve things. And this is how everything around us works today. It's through algorithms. Whenever I say algorithms, it's Khawarizmiya. It's to that Muslim philosopher, mathematicien nowhere during the dark ages. Right? Created the concept of algebra. المهم, so Baghdad was flourishing. And then imagine with me, one day, you are south of Baghdad, living على نهر دجلة. You wake up in the most perfect time in the world, right? And this is معهد المأمون. This is 400 years later, right? عام 1258. العالم الإسلامي is still so powerful. Science is flourishing. They created so much, right? Ibn Sina already wrote books about medicine, but Ibn Sina wasn't even in Baghdad. But he used all of the translations from there, right? Al-Hasan al-Haytham already created everything that we know about optics, precision, right? We will get to it. First ever university in history is established at 856. And that's a very interesting story. If I ask anybody today, what's the first university في العالم, بيقولوا لي, well, probably Oxford, probably somewhere. I سألتك كنت داخل. And then I tell you, well, do you know anything about جامعة قرويين? And you go, what? And I was like, well, جامعة قرويين established in 850s في المغرب. تخرج منها أحد أهم العلماء في العالم. Most of the most important Arab scientists في العالم went through it, and also non-Arab, right? So established في المغرب, gave it access to also to Europe because it was very close to them. The library of Cordoba was also established during the 800s. So you see, if you go back in history, a lot of really different cool scientific libraries, universities, mosques, جامعات تغير العالم الإسلامي من إنه المسجد فقط للدين إلى المسجد للدراسة والعلم. So you have جامعة الأزهر, مكاتب مصر, you have مكاتب في تونس, you have مكاتب وجامعة في
ويا أخي تحس هذه كلها got inspired من بغداد.
Baghdad, because people moved from Baghdad to build libraries because Baghdad is no longer able to contain all of the books, and also it's easier for people to translate all over the world, right? So أول جامعة في التاريخ is جامعة القرويين في المغرب. Still exists today.
أقدم جامعة. أقدم جامعة.
And today is actual formal university. If you look it up here, 1921 they made it a university, but it existed من 800, right?
بدأت بمسجد
للدراسة والعلم. Who established it?
A woman.
A woman.
Yeah.
Established by a woman.
مرأة مسلمة تونسية مهاجرة.
تونسية مهاجرة. تتذكر اسمها؟
فاطمة مو القروية لا. فاطمة.
So it is very important to say this because at that time in history, all over Europe, all over the modern world, the Dark Ages,
Yeah.
women were completely oppressed. They had no rights. If you read in history, women had no roles in anything.
Yeah.
But then if you read عند العرب والمسلمين بشكل عام, actually women were scholars.
Yes.
They were people of science.
فاطمة بن محمد الفهري.
فاطمة بن محمد الفهري established the first ever university على هذه الأرض. Right?
That still exists.
It still exists.
Still exists.
She took all of the money she had to build a mosque,
Yeah.
but also she used that mosque as a place of science.
Yeah. Which is interesting. يعني هي جات من عائلة عندها فلوس، عندها
Right.
علم، وهاجرت من تونس إلى المغرب. ما أعرف إيش كان في تونس that pushed them to إنه يهاجروا. هاجرت، أبوها كان متوفي فورثت كل الورث حق أبوها. She did not spend it on palaces. She did not spend it on رفاهية ولا anything.
She could have done anything
She could
she
have done
wanted.
everything. She spent it to build a university.
Yeah.
And she did not call the university under her name.
No.
She called it based هي القرويين ترجع ل where she came from. كان I think مدينة اسمها القيروان في تونس. She نسبت هذا الاسم الجامعة لهذا الاسم. كان في حي في المغرب apparently من كل الناس اللي هاجروا من القيروان إلى المغرب كانوا القرويين.
Right.
She named it after that. She did not name it after herself.
No. And still exists as the جامعة القرويين today.
وما حد يعرف إنه في مرأة مسلمة عربية بنت
عربية is a stretch.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. مسلمة probably كانت تتكلم عربي because العالم الإسلامي كان كله يتكلم عربي. بس مرأة عربية هي أول مو عربية sorry
مسلم.
مرأة مسلمة
Yeah.
أول من بنى جامعة على هذه الأرض. And you never read about her in history.
ما حد يعرف عنها.
ما حد يعرف عنها. I struggled to find that information. But the moment I started, it's like, okay, بيت الحكمة we have no traces of.
Yeah.
But we have influences, right? So, جامعة القرويين came from it Ibn Khaldun. Kaust, we have a scholarship under his name. We have a building, an entire science building dedicated for him. Ibn Khaldun did amazing science, and we will get to him. الخوارزم من بغداد. ابن خلدون من جامعة القرويين. الحسن بن الهيثم من مصر. And also Pope Sylvester graduated من جامعة القرويين.
هو كان the second pope, right?
I don't know.
Something in the beginning.
Something in the أكيد عارف من 100.
Yeah.
Something in the beginning, right? But this guy started his scientific scholarly journey. He was a pope. He wasn't even a Muslim. He was a Christian in a mosque.
في
جامعة مبنية بيد امرأة.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, وبعدين لما بنتها she did not order build this and moved on.
No.
Apparently she was looking after the
Yes.
project, the progression of it, the buildings and
He
everything.
continued what المأمون started في العراق.
Yeah.
The Great Library of Cordoba exists today. You can go to it. It's a physical place. جامعة القرويين exists today at the جامعة. You can go visit the old mosque, by the way. It's crazy to think about. And then الأزهر في مصر في برضو مكاتب في مصر exists today من بيت بسبب what المأمون did في بيت الحكمة. It propagated across العالم الإسلامي. Right? And then so many different things came out of it. So much science. If you talk about the influence of بيت الحكمة خارج العراق. Right? عندك ابن سينا في إيران, like whatever force at that time, created everything we know in medicine, far beyond the knowledge of the time. Everything we know about astronomy. If you look at المخطوطات اللي لسه عندنا من بيت الحكمة اللي طلعت من العراق, dude, it is crazy. حتى الخرائط, they had maps of Americas, of Antarctica, of أماكن اللي ما حد يتوقع أن الناس وصلوا لها في ذاك الزمان, right? But العرب المسلمين لما ترجموا كل شيء ورسموا الخرائط, they had accurate maps about the world. They had accurate science about the world, and they didn't keep it to themselves. They propagated it. ترجموا كل شيء عربي. كل المسلمين كانوا يتكلموا عربي, so they had access to all of this science.
Open source.
open source. So it flourished, it propagated outside Iraq. So now 500 years later عام 1258 إذا أنت في العراق أنت أحد من أكثر الناس مثقفة في العالم. You probably speak so many languages, you're into so many sciences, nothing can stop you in terms of science. But imagine with me right now, if I tell you, you wake up one day, أنت متعايش في بغداد because you don't like the city, you want to go near إلى الخليج, أنت عايش down south, you know, نهر دجلة يبدأ من سوريا all the way في بغداد وينتهي في الخليج العربي. It's very interesting also this river. Anyways, imagine أنت عايش down south نهاية نهر دجلة and you wake up one day عام 1258 and you go okay عم بغى أروح أجيب موية توي صاحي من النوم and you go to the river and the river is all black with ink. موية نهر دجلة, at least in history, in mythology of history, it says الناس راحت للنهر and they've never seen this before. Nobody understood what happened. خارج بغداد, they did not know what was happening. But الناس راحت للنهر all the way at its end في مصب النهر وما كانوا يقدروا يشربوا موية, ما يقدروا ياخذوا موية because نهر دجلة كامل صار لونه أسود. All black. And all of they were able to think and know, okay, there's a disaster happening up north, right? They didn't know what it was. And you trace back to history and you go, what happened إلى بيت الحكمة today? Where did it go? Where are all the books? كل الكتب اللي ترجمت, كل الذهب اللي اندفع, where did it all go? What happened? And عام 1258 المغول invaded Baghdad, right? So they killed probably most of the population there. Mughal were not, they were just kill, right? So they killed probably most of the population there. But they didn't stop there because if you really, I think the logic is if you really want to destroy a nation, you don't just kill its people because, you know, the history will survive. But you destroy the most precious thing they have, right? The most precious thing they have.
The records.
If إذا أنت في بغداد, what is the most precious thing people had? Books.
Yes.
So the history says إنه المغول لما اجتاحوا العراق, لما اجتاحوا بغداد, ما كانت مرة مصيبة إنهم قتلوا كل الناس. I think it was a disaster. They probably committed a genocide. They killed everybody, almost everybody. They destroyed Baghdad. They completely destroyed Baghdad. مع أن عاصمة الدولة العباسية ما كانت في بغداد by the way, كانت في سامرة.
اوكي.
بعد ما المأمون مات في عام 833 نقلت العاصمة من بغداد إلى سامرة. And I think the reason نقلوا العاصمة من بغداد إلى سامرة because Baghdad is no longer a place of like politics. It's like, what am I gonna do here? How am I gonna rule these people? These people are so smart, so incredibly advanced. So نقلت من بغداد إلى سامرة. بس المغول لما جو يدمروا الدولة العباسية
ما
راحوا بغداد.
ما راحوا.
Well, دمروا بعد I think they went, but like first they went to Baghdad and the story says that نهر دجلة ran black for weeks, if not months. Completely black. And that's because of the amount of ink.
من حبر الكتب اللي
انرمت
اللي المغول رموها.
So المغول رموا كل الكتب. Oh, they destroyed the entire... So دمروا بيت الحكمة. بس بيت الحكمة, again, it wasn't a place. It was the people and the city. The city of Baghdad had so many books, so many scholars. عام 1258 المغول اجتاحوها and they threw everything for the river. Everything. To a point where the river ran black for weeks. And what do we have left from that place is probably less than 1% from what was written.
أو الأشياء اللي طلعت من
بغداد. So for example, we know about الكتب اللي سواها الخوارزم. Right? We know a little bit about some other books that were created by other scholars. But imagine كتب الخوارزم غرقت في النهر. Where would we be today? Imagine المغول ما حرقوا الكتب. And that's مو حرقوا. Alexandria, Great Library of Alexandria حرقت, بيت الحكمة غرقت. Literally. So imagine إنه المغول ما رموا كل الحبر أو الورق في نهر دجلة. Imagine we still have access to those books.
Oh.
What kind of science and physics would we have? Because people talked about the concept of الفراغ. And to me, as a person who reads a little bit about physics, لما أي شخص who understands mathematics and physics that talks about the concept of emptiness and vacuum, how quickly do you go from space to vacuum to zero energy to quantum physics?
Yeah, I mean it's all linked
Very quick.
together.
في كتب في مخطوطات من بيت الحكمة that we do not understand today because we lost primary sources. We have evidence that الخوارزميات, well, not, we have all the evidence that الجبر, الخوارزميات, a lot of these things that we use today. Artificial intelligence with all its greatness, I think it was created بيت الحكمة by الخوارزم.
Yeah.
Right? He just created it. He just created the foundation for it. All of the mathematics, all of the physics. One beautiful thing that I also learned, التشفير.
Oh yeah, encryption,
Cryptography. Cryptography.
Yeah.
It's cryptography. تشفير. It's created also في بيت الحكمة. The very first types of تشفير, إنه كيف نستخدم أرقام, حروف, mix them up together. How do we understand? How do we solve things? Factorization, all of these mathematical operators were there. بيت الحكمة before even Galileo existed.
Yeah.
By the way, Galileo burned on the stake. حرقوه. المسيح أخذوا عالم من علمائهم وحرقوه عشان كان يطلع في الفضاء وقال لهم يا جماعة احنا ندور حول الشمس. احنا ندور حول الشمس, احنا مو محور الكون. And everything is circular. أخذوا Galileo وحرقوه. Hundreds of years before Galileo. Hundreds of years before Galileo. المسلمين, Dark Ages, savages, understand nothing, right? المسلمين at that time wrote books, مخطوطات, we have them today. طلعت من العراق من بيت الحكمة, whatever survived, talking about عدد الكواكب الموجودة, إيش هي النجوم, حركة الأرض حول الشمس, and how everything is circular.
not flat.
And they mapped it. And they figured out speeds and motions. They figured out speed of light at that time somehow, right? They figured out radiuses of planets, of how orbits work.
Well, and I think, okay, they were, even though they were great scholars,
Right.
but because the whole point لما جابوا كل العلم اللي موجود حوالينهم and they translated.
Yes.
لأنه قبلهم these sources that they extracted or got inspired by, they're coming from.
That's important. So I'm interested in, so just to get the story.
Yeah.
I think in the year 12, at the end of it, not قبل ما يدمروها المغول, let's say in the year 1257, سنة قبل تدمير بيت الحكمة. I think if you think about Google today, MIT, NASA, all the world scientific foundations, Oxford, Cambridge, كلهم لما تفكر أحسن مكان فيه علم الآن today, you go Caltech, MIT, they were all in one place. بغداد. I think مو بس in one place, it was one body, one system. كتب ترجمت إلى اللغة العربية للغات مختلفة. العلماء من كل العالم had access to it. They wrote so many things. And if I look at whatever 1% maybe survived, and I question, where did they learn this from?
Yeah.
There are history of Atlantis, history of Mesopotamia. Some of them even wrote about spaceships. But مأمون أمر ببناء أول observatory للفضاء. But that actually operated because the way we know it operated is because we have maps of space.
Yes. How did they know that? How did they
know
see
that?
Yes.
But how they built it, they saw it through science.
Yeah.
But I'm also very curious about the books that they were reading.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we don't have evidence of what they were.
I don't think even in 5 years, let's say I give you a book of optics,
you can,
in 5 years, you're not going to build an observatory right away. You need like a kind of a roadmap.
So from what we have today, من بيت الحكمة, is the important things are like in في الفلك, في الهندسة, في الطب, في all of these sciences. I want to know, what did we lose? I want to know if it was never destroyed, وين العالم الإسلامي راح يكون? I want to know if they were be able to build an iPhone much sooner in time.
يعني
We talked about Tesla a while ago, صح? Well, imagine the amount of science that those people did, because some of them wrote about electricity.
Yes.
Some of them wrote about crazy things. And you go, well, they were primitive people, they didn't know. And then خليك إذا أفتح خريطة العالم اللي العرب ترجموها ما اكتشفوها، ترجموها مو اكتشفوها. ما لا مو ابن بطوطة، ابن بطوطة also was there.
بس يعني ما سافروا
بس
mapped it.
ترجموها ورسموها and they show Americas, both of them. They show the entirety of like the North Pole and the South Pole, and they mapped اسمها القارة في القطب الجنوبي, Antarctica.
Yeah.
So, okay, what else did they know?
Yeah.
Where did they get this from?
Yes, where did they get this from?
Right? And how much did we lose?
Yeah. And they got it, again, it goes back, they got it from, okay, let's say different sources. Of course, there's no way to trace it back. Best because someone came with power and influence who قال I want all the knowledge that I can get my hand into.
Right.
I will create this scholar heavens.
I will create an open source heaven.
Yes.
For all of you scholars.
And open the ground for debate and thinking and innovation.
By the way, كمية الشعر اللي طلع من ذاك المكان.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Yes. عمر الخيام, I think he was not living Baghdad, but like he was influenced by them. He was influenced by their science. They Ibn Sina, they all of these people. And that guy wrote, still existing, the most accurate calendar in history.
Yeah, yeah.
Where did he learn that from?
Yeah.
What books was he reading?
Yeah, and these books were translated in Baghdad, by scholars in Baghdad, and propagated to other...
all of the they translated the books وتعلموا منها وكتبوا their own books. Their own books were sent out.
Yes.
But the original sources, الأشياء اللي ما فهموها.
Yeah.
هل تتوقع أن في كتب that talks about transistors? هل تتوقع أن كان في كتب that talks about
the pyramids,
magnetic fields, the history of the pyramids, the history of Gilgamesh, the history of all of these things? هل تتوقع كانت موجودة بس ما كانوا يفهموها أو like ما حد تعلموا عنها?
Yeah.
But like like I'm not. And then because it was the only copy, it was destroyed. How many books were destroyed إلى درجة إنه نهر دجلة يصير لونه أسود لأسابيع because المغول كانوا يرموا كتب for weeks if not months. Hey, you're in the army, you kill everybody in the city and you go, oh, I have to destroy everything in it. So تاخذ كل الكتب, كل المخطوطات, كل الرسمات, and you just dump them in the river. And it takes an army months to dump them in the river بحيث إن الريفر يتقلب لونه أسود. So how much knowledge did we lose? How much knowledge did we like just are reinventing? And then afterwards بعد تدمير بيت الحكمة, scientists were dispersed, right? Whoever survived طلع منها. And then you immediately start seeing Europe flourishing.
The golden age.
You immediately start seeing the Renaissance in Europe, where all of a sudden في mathematicians, في artists, في philosophers. They started talking about the world. بدوا يرسموا, بدوا يخطوا. Leonardo da Vinci did crazy things as well. But where is that primary sources?
Yeah.
From what we have today, which is nothing. Nothing compared to what they had before. Just talking about algebra, about algorithms, talking about lights, matter, space. Physics. And we're not even talking about human history. يعني أكيد they were interested in human history.
Definitely.
أكيد they discovered things.
Well, I think it's the most basic thing that people would have wrote.
Right.
What's happening in their days.
But that's important, right? إذا أنت المغول and all of a sudden you go there وتتعلم حاجة عن your history and you don't want your history. So you destroy it.
Yes.
But so you destroyed everything as well. And we lost so much. And if I just look at like this small percentage of what remains, it's already transformative. It already changes the world today. Imagine if we had 20%, 40%, 100%. Imagine it was never invaded. Imagine Beit al-Hikmah exists till today, expanded. Would we even need Cambridge, Oxford, MIT,
We
Stanford.
so here's the thing: we will need them because I think the world is going to keep
but
expanding.
will they be في أمريكا ولا في العالم العربي؟
Probably not. هيكون في العالم العربي.
Right, because
لأنه even the location makes sense, you know.
So lost history, lost civilization.
Yeah.
By the way, if you look at the architecture of Baghdad, Baghdad was designed على architecture, the Persian architecture, which is circular, and circular expanding outwards. And some people say they also were inspired by historical evidence at Atlantis. Baghdad is not Atlantis, but they probably knew about Atlantis. Probably they had books about it.
Definitely.
Probably they had history about it.
Yeah.
We lost it all. And we lost it all because an army killed everybody and decided to destroy books. So the question is, what is more impactful for further generation? Do I go and I'd say I killed all of your ancestors? Or do I go and say I destroyed all of your science, knowledge, history?
It's the science and history. It's like, okay, what makes culture or people is what they make.
Right.
You know, like the food, the culture, how do they communicate, how do they deal with each other? What products did they bring out to the world? That's, I think, what lasts. Eventually people will die, right?
So a book will last forever.
Yes.
A human will be erased. But if you destroy their books, then you effectively erase them.
Yes.
So the Mughal knew this. They understood the idea of destruction, of that if I want to destroy people, I shouldn't just kill their men. I should actually destroy their knowledge.
إرثهم.
So if I send you thousands of years back in time, right? If I send you back to the Stone Ages, if I destroy your scientific capabilities, I curb your advancements. And if you just look at peaceful people, the Beit al-Hikmah, just imagine with me, they were not invaders. They were not expansionists. ما كانوا يحاولوا يقتلوا أحد أو well, some of them did, but like I'm talking about Al-Ma'mun, the idea of what he created is like, I will make peace and treaties with everybody, and all I want from them is their books, science, and knowledge and philosophy. And I will also send it back. And we lost, I would say, 99.9% of it.
Yeah.
What remains is nothing. But alhamdulillah, what remains changes the world.
Yes. And I mean, and 2 points, I guess. Maybe it got lost. I mean, we rediscovered a lot of things.
Right.
It took different paths. It took a longer time.
Right. And then we attribute them to different people.
That's the sad part. And because even, okay, I would attribute a lot of the work to these scientists because they did great work. Like including, like in the Western world, including Newton and all.
So Newton, by the way, described his Principia physics. So Newton created calculus to understand physics. But he needed algebra.
Yes. Yeah.
He needed books written 700-800 years before him.
And there was a lot of, by the way, there's a lot of evidence that calculus was created during that time.
Right, but we don't have the book for it, right?
We don't have like the...
Because Al-Khawarizm with his mind created algebra. How far away to understand limits, derivatives?
It's so easy.
Right?
It's so easy. That's science.
Yeah. So it's probably
and because I mean, actually,
discovered.
We actually see it like if you study math for too long, like the hardest part actually learning algebra correctly and well,
and understanding how mathematical algorithms work.
Yes, after that, calculus can be really easy. You know, it's just like basically applications of everything you learn.
All of mathematics is nothing more than Khwarizmiyat.
Yes.
All of computer science, all of coding, all of AI.
Yes.
It's Khwarizmiyat.
But all I'm saying is that we rediscovered a lot of things, but the sad part is that you would just take all credits from the people before it because they got destroyed. The other thing is like, I don't think we can redo the same mistake. I don't think any army can come and burn all knowledge.
I think we still do that though.
We still, but you know, like with digital era, with the digital time.
So alhamdulillah, right. So right now you can go. So even from World War II, right, or like World War I, I think they targeted scientists. I think they targeted people and like, okay, sure, you're an army. I can kill your army commander. You can replace him.
Yeah.
But how hard is it for me to kill the scientist who understands how to manufacture things for you.
Yeah.
You can't replace that person.
Yes.
Right? But now if I can kill him, but he wrote everything down, I need to go and burn everything down.
Yeah.
Okay.
How? Yeah.
Right now in the digital world, that how is no longer valid because everything is digital.
Yeah.
But in the old historical time, إذا أنت المغول and you want to erase المسلمين عن الأرض, well, attack their culture.
Yes.
Well, not any culture. Attack the most important advanced society ever existed in history.
Yeah.
But that's important because Beit al-Hikmah is erased. That advanced society, advanced culture is erased.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And history looks at it and it was like, okay, they had Khawarizm. But who else? Nobody cares. But how many before them? Because it was so easy for me to destroy your history. If I invade you and I burn all of your books, it's gone. Your history is gone, right? So how many advanced civilization before Al-Arab, before Al-Muslimin, were taken away? The Great Library of Alexandria was burned.
Yeah.
And how much science and knowledge was lost there? If you're talking about the history of the pyramids, the history of first cultures, first civilization, floods, Galubay Tepe, whatever, right? All we have is some structures.
Yes.
But if I burned all of your books, then you're gone forever. And I can only imagine how much history is gone that we will never know about. We can only speculate. If you go to anybody now, any archaeologist, and you go, well, there was an advanced society in Baghdad. They're like,
Yeah.
Where's your evidence?
There's no evidence.
Right. Well, I have Al-Khawarizm.
Yeah.
That's good enough evidence. المسلمين العرب, they documented الدولة العباسية because it was written. But imagine something before them. Imagine something 1,000 years before them.
Yeah.
And I tell you, well, there was an advanced civilization. You go, where's the evidence?
The evidence in the Arab were advanced. They were
evidence-
advanced because of
Where
that.
because where did they learn it?
Yes.
Because if you talk about Beit al-Hikmah was the entire city to Baghdad, I think. And it was all books that primary sources that people learned from. And they wrote what they ever thought they interesting. So for sure, 100%, those books spoke about something before them.
Yes.
Where did those learn it from? Where is the evidence? Where is the history? How many نهر? How many بحر? How many بحيرة قلب لونها أسود في تاريخها?
Yeah.
Right? We only know about Dijla. But was it the Nile before it?
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Yeah.
But on a good point, and a good note, I mean, we can end it there. Because I think I would like to continue on the topic. There's a lot to talk
There's a lot,
about,
dude.
you know.
جامعة القرويين is a topic by itself.
Yes. There's a lot of scientists to talk about
Right.
that came out of...
So yeah,
of
this
that
is just the history of like just our trivial brief history of
Yes.
like science in Beit al-Hikmah because I think it's very fascinating. Because I'm reading a lot in physics today, I'm reading a lot in science. Like okay,
Leads you there.
and you go, how did they learn this?
Yeah.
Well, they learned it from this primary source.
Yeah.
Well, that guy in 1900, where did he learn it from?
Yeah.
Well, he learned it from Newton. Well, was Newton out of vacuum? No. Where did he get his knowledge
Yeah.
from? What books? He never cited books.
Yeah.
Galileo before Newton. Well, Galileo told us something that caused his death. That we know it's true. What caused Galileo to build a telescope? How did he learn how to build a telescope?
Yes.
Where did he get that
Why did he
information
think
from?
about that? Yes.
And then you trace it back and go, oh, there's a gap in history. There's
What happened
literally
there?
a gap in
Yeah.
history.
What happened there?
And then you reach Al-Khawarizm, and the moment you you stumble on Al-Khawarizm, you immediately go, Eureka, Beit al-Hikmah. The guy created the foundation of everything we know today in mathematics and computer
Because
science.
after that, there is that gap, right?
There's that gap.
Yeah.
After the destruction of Beit al-Hikmah, إلى Renaissance, there's a gap. And that's the real Dark Ages.
Yeah.
The Dark Ages wasn't إنه المسلمين العرب والفرس كانوا No, that's golden ages.
Yeah.
They created science. The Dark Ages is after the destruction of Beit al-Hikmah until we created like probably Oxford. Right? But جامعة luckily for us, جامعة القرويين continues till today.
Yeah.
The library of Cordoba is there as a museum.
Yeah.
الأزهر جامعة الأزهر still exists, right? في برضو مصر في libraries exist that are byproducts of Beit al-Hikmah.
طيب الكتب هذه اللي موجودة في the libraries that exist now.
Yeah.
Are they, I don't know, do they still exist the same?
Some of them do. I mean, some of them do, but I think they are, again, probably 0.1% of what was there in Baghdad. it's nothing.
وحتى الخوارزمي يعني انت you're talking about one singular scholar scientist during that time. I'm sure he wasn't the only great
No,
one.
no, no.
You know what I mean?
So the reason I'm focusing on Khwarizm is because
Yeah.
he's close to my heart. He's close
Yeah.
to what I do every day, right?
And the impact, yes.
And the impact. Like
Yeah.
every time I turn my computer on,
Yeah.
it's algorithms that you like. He exists in every aspect of every individual's life, right? And this is عام 800 في الثمانمئات,
Yeah.
right? And
أنا عايش في 2025.
yeah, and imagine if he's alive today. Imagine if we had more of his work.
His work.
Imagine if we have access to the primary sources that he writes. Like just that imagination for me, just
Yeah, because I mean, like you see the scientists that came came way after him.
way after.
Yeah, imagine these great minds had access to all the information that he produced. The information and
they had access to the information that he had access.
Yes, that he had access to.
Yeah.
We would have been way ahead of
right. So to me, look at المسلمين من رجال وامرأة, وأكيد في كثير من نساء في العالم الإسلامي, they did greatness that history just forgets them, because at that time المؤرخين they just مو المؤرخين العرب, كانوا المؤرخين للأسف في أوروبا كانوا يكتبوا عن العرب. They just ignored the factors of women, they ignored the factors of Muslim scholars because they wanted to erase it, right? But
they wanted to create a certain image.
But also because they were also oppressing their own women, right?
Yeah.
So it's like كيف أجي أقول للشعب حقي إنه النساء المسلمات في العالم العربي
كانوا شغالين,
they were creating
amazing.
all of this,
Yes.
but you guys are not even allowed to get out of their home. مع أنهم هم مسلمين.
They're the oppressive ones.
Yeah. So there is this
conflict of interest.
So there's this lies. It's all lies, I think.
And the winner. So here's the thing: the winner.
History is written by the victor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the F part. But I mean, I think we live in a time that it's hard to do that again.
I think so.
It's really hard. I mean, I think it's doable.
But you know, are we that afraid of science? Are we humans? Are that much of afraid? We are. So,
but here's the thing: humans are not afraid of science. I think selfish people are afraid of science,
right?
Because if it does not align with your personal needs and personal drives,
at some point science discoveries could lead to things that could lead to your destruction.
Yes.
So you are always afraid. So just from there, it's like the Mughal were afraid from science.
Yeah.
The Europeans were afraid from the scientific foundations that the Arab was doing. Muslimin were doing. المسلمين created wonders. من ابن سينا خارج بيت الحكمة بغداد, but he relied heavily on the translations. الخوارزم في بغداد, الحسن بن الهيثم في مصر, جامعة القرويين, ابن خلدون في المغرب, قرطبة, and all of the scientists that came from قرطبة.
كندي طلع برضو من دار الحكمة ولا بعده؟
I'm not too sure, but I think if you walk in Kaust, all of the buildings, أسماء الbuildings كلها في Kaust are people that are either from بيت الحكمة or heavily influenced by بيت الحكمة.
When I was about to say, and it's not advertisement, بس إذا جيت وزرتوا كاوست, أي حد يزار كاوست, في الميوزيوم.
الميوزيوم is beautiful.
الميوزيوم حلو, يوروا في أكثر من ساعة created by scientists there, their work, some of their work, what they're focused on, من ناحية فلك, من ناحية طب.
So exactly. So there are so many things. While people in Europe, not even in the 1200, no, we're talking about 1400, 1500, 1600, 1700. They like, oh, we need sundials to know what time it is.
Yeah.
Way before them. المسلمين, العلماء المسلمين من دار الحكمة وغيرها, they created hours out of waterfalls.
Yes. By mechanical clocks.
Yeah, they understood so much.
They were so close to create حتى البوصلة, like a really accurate بوصلة.
Okay.
They had a primitive one.
They had maps of the world that we did not discover.
Yeah.
So where did they learn that from?
But anyway, also Kaust, the message or the vision behind it
is
by الملك عبد الله بن عبد العزيز الله يرحمه, كانت إنه يرجع يسوي شيء مثل دار الحكمة, بيت الحكمة كجامعة أو منطقة تجمع العلماء من جميع أنواع العالم, من جميع الباك جراوندز من جميع الأديان to study science, to do research. And it exists.
This, but we are nothing compared to what these
True,
people did.
true,
Because we have science.
Yes.
Well, we have technology. But I think they also created that technology way before us. But
Yeah.
it's an episode that can never end. And I think there are so many more people to talk about, so many advancements to talk about. But Beit al-Hikmah is a foundation in history that it wasn't a makan, it wasn't a place. It's people, shab, وكتب, and a vision from Harun al-Rashid. Al-Ma'mun just really went straight ahead with it, and then everything was just self-sustained until المغول 1258 just destroyed everything. But yeah, that's it.
That's it.
I mean, it saddens me to end it here, but I think we'll come back to different stories. There is a lot more to talk about.
We can actually come back to linking the good parts of
Right.
coming out of that.
في أشياء كثيرة يعني احنا we should definitely talk about الحسن بن الهيثم. Nothing to say biases about optics there, but I think الحسن بن الهيثم is a very interesting story because he's a scientist that سوى مجنون 10 years in prison. Comes Moon Newton, like because of a pandemic, went and created calculus. No. This is in prison. He was under house arrest.
Yeah.
سوى مجنون. ادعى الجنون because he did not want to build a bridge, a dam for the Nile of Masr. He had all the science power to do that.
قال له أنا ما أقدر.
فالدولة الفاطمية قررت تسجنه because you're not going to work for me, you're not going to work for anybody.
Yeah.
So سجنوه, and then for about 10 years, I think, and then he comes out and he goes, okay, I just wrote everything I know about lights and optics. And where the hell did he learn that from? Beit al-Hikmah. All right. Good luck to everyone. Have a nice day. I don't know. Hopefully
Have a great day.
tomorrow
See
or
you.
sometime this week or next
We'll
week.
see you soon, inshallah.
Inshallah.